Hello. What you're looking at here is a prototype of my 5200 XEGS board mounted on top of a 5200 system motherboard. This one has required extensive modifications just because of the nature of being the very first prototype board made, and some things didn't work out as I basically had thought, or I had overlooked certain aspects. One of the biggest aspects was that I have decoder chips that one associated with the 5200 and one associated with the XEGS that really need to be open collector types, and these are not, or excuse me, these are, but the original ones were not. And unfortunately, there was no drop-in version. So hence the reason for all the weird wires flying up from the top of the board there with things suspended in midair. This was to correct those problems. And I really wanted to make sure that this system would work before I laid out another PCB and had some manufactured. So let's go ahead and fire this baby up here. First, let me set this up in a way that you can see everything. There we go. Okay, I'm going to have to kind of hold this and reach over and do this. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to press F6, which should bring up the which should bring us up in XEGS mode with the A8 Pico cart, which you can see is on screen now. And we can do all the normal things here. Let me see. Let's do F. Pull. Bring up pole position here. And we can start that if we want. And then if we go ahead and if we press F6 again, we'll go back to the menu, which I can do that real quick. And then let's say, for instance, we want to start it up without the A8 Pico cart in use. I just pronounced it correctly there. It's the first time I called it a Pico cart. I have a really hard time calling it a Pico cart because to me, when I look at it, that doesn't look like Pico, it looks like Pico. But anyway, the appropriate name is A8 Pico cart. So if we want to bring up the system in XEGS mode without that, we can just press F8 and it'll boot up without that. It basically bypasses it. So in this case, we're coming up in basic. I have a custom ROM on this board, so I got Altera Basic instead of the normal Atari Basic. And of course, that all works. And then let's say we wanted to bring it up into 5200 mode. Well, we'd press F7. And there we are. We're now running that Pac-Man cartridge that I got plugged in there. Kind of the cool thing is you can leave the 5200 cartridges plugged in and still go and run it as an XEGS without having to unplug that cartridge. And this system has 1 meg of memory. So if let's go back into the Pico cart. There I go again. And we'll go into test mode with a test folder, and we'll run SimCheck. This is a little bit older version, but it'll still work. So since we have a we have a language activated, a language slot activated. It only comes up into 576K mode. If we wanted to actually have the full 1 meg, we just got to basically go with no slots, so no built-in language. And the way we can do that is just go Alt, tiddly key, and then if we go back to S6 again, and we go back to the test, we should be at 1 meg. Yeah, which we are, 1088K. Sorry for moving this camera around. I got a hand hold it at the same time I'm doing this stuff right now. And you can also see that I have a custom OS in this system too. I have Highest's high speed SIO version in here. But yeah, that's basically how it works. And like I said, if we want to get back to just a stock 5200, just hit F7. And we're back in the 5200 cart, which we can actually start that. And we have all our control, just like normal, through a normal 5200 joystick, analog joystick. And there are ports for when you're in XE mode to plug in a standard digital joystick. So you have ports 1 and 2 for that, and then you have ports 1 and 2 for the analog for the 5200. Anyway, that'll end this video. Hope you found that interesting.